today the session is about maximizing profit, minimizing waste. So maybe as a quick introduction, why is waste reduction so important? There's one number that you have to remember. It's 1/3. 1/3 of the food that we produce for human consumption will never be eaten. This is a massive problem at global scale for three major reasons. There's a human reason. When you throw away 30 to 40% of the food you produce, while 800 million people are living under poverty, it's injustice, it's a problem, and there's redistribution that are needed and required. There's an environmental impact that is massive. All the food that you eat today on your plate will most likely be transported, refrigerated, manufactured, and this has a major carbon footprint. Today, the United Nations estimates that around 10% of our greenhouse gas emissions come from food waste. This is massive. This is 5 times more than the airline industry itself. I like this image, if food waste was a country, it would be the 3rd biggest polluter on the planet after United States and China, right? So a lot of scientists have demonstrated that reducing food waste today is the most actionable way of reducing our carbon footprint as human species. And the third one is financial. $1.3 trillion worth of food is being thrown away every year. So it means that along the supply chain, a lot of players are losing money, right? So what is exciting is that we have this financial tool that we can use as a leverage to educate consumers, to motivate businesses, to motivate government to tackle that climate impact, right? So I think what was very important for us today was to make it very actionable. We wanted a leader from the industry to come and share its best practices so that anyone else in the F&B industry could get inspired and start tackling food waste today. Just so you know, for every $1 that you spend in reducing your wastage, you can expect between 10 to 14 times return on investment, right? So I'm very happy to have you,
Thank you for
Benjamin.
the invitation.
You are the head of food for Central Retail Group. So you have been one of the pioneers in Thailand in terms of sustainability, in terms of food waste reduction. Can you tell us a little bit why you've made such bold commitments and what is your vision?
So actually, it's not only at my level. You know, we are part of Central Retail Corporation. Central Retail Corporation is one of the main actor in this food industry and also on the wastage management. We have some targets that we are going. We have on a different days and time. 2030 should be a 30% reduction of waste for us, output-wise, and we are targeting the net zero on 2050. So we have a couple of leverage, couple of actions we are taking. I'm going to take some of my examples. We are looking at first financial, as you said, human, and the environment. Financial-wise, we have the classic applications of the food wastage optimization. One of them is the short shelf life that we have at the retail that we can transform with the F&B. You have also trying to have for the F&B industry avoiding as much as we can what we call the single item recipes. So for instance, if you take, I'm not going to explain you in detail, this one is very obvious, but when you have one recipe taking only one item, you have much more possibilities to waste this item instead of using it on cross recipes. And you have also other things that we are doing in parallel. One is for the packaging, where we have actionables with some partners in order to have 100% of recyclable packaging. And the last after, which is something a bit more high level and long term, is to try to change the perception of people. How do they are also the actors of this wastage reduction? How do we leverage this? And what is also in the end the long-term targets for everyone.
All right, so it's quite clear. I think one of the first thing that you mentioned is, as a business, you first need to set yourself targets. To set yourself targets, you need to understand the situation, and the first thing that you need to do as a business is to measure your wastage.
Exactly. So we have some KPIs that we use on a regular basis. The main KPIs we have is of what we call the shrinkage, wastage, which is the easiest and the most obvious. After, we need to be organized upfront in terms of purchase. We are trying to develop more and more demand planning of your raw mats. We are, for instance, in my department managing more than 40 restaurants. The main challenge is to be capable per different outlets to know what will be the sales, what will be the raw material that are going to be ordered. If I order properly my quantities, I will be able to reduce potentially this waste. And also, the second hand, what is the production planning. Production planning is all the production you need to make ahead of your service. Simple example are tomato sauce, your pesto sauce, pre-cooking your pasta or your rice, etc. If you make, let's see, stupid example, you make 10 kilo of pasta, whereas you know that today you have a sales target which will be much lower than this, you're going to throw away 50% of that. You didn't do a proper production plan based on the forecast that you have.
I think one big difference I see in the industry, Thailand, but also region-wise, is that when we talk about food waste, so a lot of players, like the big one, they're already measuring, they know where they are, they compare themselves to the competitor, but the smaller ones, they have no idea. And when we talk about food waste, they're like, it's not that big. And when I say how much, they have no idea. And usually it looks small, and when you start measuring, you will see whether it's painful or not. I remember this guy telling me, we're 3%, we're good to go. And I said, and value? 1 to 2 million baht a year. Is it heavy for you? And I said, yeah, of course it's heavy. And then he started changing his mind by setting that first, hey, is it painful? Are we good compared to the competitors? And that kind of motivates them to change their habits.
Yeah, what is interesting as well at that level is that you need to be at least even for the small restaurant, to be a little bit data driven. You can be on an Excel, you don't need to have a big tool that is managing it, but keep your data and your record on a regular basis every day, and then after you can see exactly how you are going to fine-tune your, as I said, the production and the purchase accordingly. If you don't have this data and you are not capable to say, okay, I'm just 2 or 3%, you are not capable to quantify exactly what is your impact on a financial basis.
So you start measuring, you start setting yourself a target, and okay, now we have to put everyone on board inside the team. Is it a challenge, or do you see other challenges that we may not anticipate in driving that change inside the company? Once the target and strategy is set up, then you have to change industry old habits.
It's a teamwork. Okay, I believe in the change management from top to down. If your manager is not capable to tell you exactly that this is important, the people below will not feel concerned about it and will not activate any action on this. I think restaurants have by themselves already some techniques that we know, transforming the product to extend the shelf life. You are going to roast a chicken. If you have some remains, you have on your menu, the chicken sandwich, which is the chicken from tomorrow, which is absolutely okay and perfect for everyone. That's part of the transformation of the product that F&B can do and the flexibility they have. On the second hand, you need also to have this kind of education, I would say. I wait a bit this one, but this kind of education we need to have for customer, for I would say not, government, but like biggest action is exactly the same as the electrical car. If you are not incentive, if you don't put any incentive to these people, they might not try, and when they try, they like it. But for instance, if you have for the packaging, for instance, if you change the rule and say now you need to have 100% of 100% biodegradable packaging, it will change from one day to another. So that's part of the different actions we can do at all the level. It's not only F&B that needs to do it, you have customer and also the government or people that can help on this.
Yeah, I remember one of the exciting examples from Central was to implement plastic reduction in the supermarkets,
Yes.
more in the retail space. They knew they wanted to go to zero plastic, but it's challenging because you have a lot of customers. If you remove the plastic bag, they complain, right? And I've seen that in India as well. We said, hey, we reduce food waste, and when we ask them to be more sustainable and remove the plastic, some customer complain it's not hygienic, right? So you have a lot of work to do with raising awareness. And one of the things I like is, I remember they started with 1 day. 1 day a year, and even the management was a bit stressed. Oh, how are we going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
They put people in the stores, they start explaining the customer, today is the day without plastics, so this is why we're doing this. And then it becomes once a month, and then it becomes once a week, and then it becomes, hey, now we have an alternative for you with no plastic.
Yeah, you can see in our supermarket, for instance, you don't have any plastic bags anymore. It's part of the action that we have. It's really something that needs to be understood from the whole chain. We can push the things, but in the end, if people don't buy it because they are not used to it, we need to change the habits. So yeah, that's a really global action that we need to have according to what is our target, and the CRC that is trying our best to share this target with everyone in order to reach that goal.
All right, it's very clear. So once you've educated your team, right, can you maybe tell us a little bit, maybe more examples, concrete examples on the day-to-day? So you mentioned the one-item recipe, you mentioned improving the upstream, so anticipating the sales. Do you have more, maybe a concrete item that some restaurant owner or...
we have, for instance, in my department, we are managing Topsiterie. Topsiterie is a chain of 11 restaurants that we have, and another one is called Taste. Both of them are restaurants that are inside the supermarkets, and we have some production we need to plan ahead. We are doing two things. We are working with you, with Topsiterie, because we have a hot daily that is product ahead. At the end of the day, we are pushing with indeed the potential, I would say, overstock that we have, which is for us a good thing. It's either in the trash bin or we work with you, so it's a win-win situation. The second that we are doing is working very closely with the retail, which we are the same company, but it's something that we are increasing. In terms of fresh product, because the fresh is the most, let's be honest, the fresh is the most tricky part for everyone. Dry products have long shelf lives, but for the fresh, we are anticipating the short shelf life, trying to take this product, make new recipes with it, and try to reduce on a global scale the shrinkage for everyone. So that's part of it. After, if there is one topic that is interesting when we talk about customer education, etc., the conservation techniques needs also to be understood by everyone. I'm not talking only about the F&B industry, but you have, we are some people in Europe are coming back to some old-time preservation techniques, smoking, salting, simmering, and also frozen and the can technique, canning, I don't know if it's exactly the wording, are a lot of very good technique to preserve your food extend the shelf life, make new recipes, and maybe consume differently.
Okay, that's very clear. Thank you very much. I think one of the things I've seen for 5-6 years fighting food waste in Thailand is one of the game changer for your group compared to others, I think, is the mentality, right? It's the openness to innovation, the openness to collaboration. And I remember very well, 5 years ago, I met with the CEO, I presented the project. We were nobody, huh? We had maybe 100 partners, we were really small, we were not even international. And Stefan saw the project and said, hey, I love it, let's do it, let's try, we have nothing to lose, right? And I think that was kind of the mentality. Let's try, let's pilot, let's do something. We know we have a problem, we're measuring. We're open to some solution. We were one of the first also to start the doing donation program with the Scholar of Sustenance Food Bank. So it's been quite a journey. So maybe just to explain to everyone what D&D does for you to understand. Basically, one of the challenges you have as a business, pre-made meal in the case of Top Eatery, bakery items, a buffet, is you have to have exciting shelves for your customer. It's a pre-production ahead. And at the end, at the time when we close, this is when it hits the most. You have really fresh food, it's perfect, but you're closing your doors, and you have no options than throwing it away, right? So what we came up with a solution where we connect them with consumers that are in the area, that pay online, and come to collect usually the last hour of the day, and for a nice discount, so usually 50 to 70%, and they will get a surprise bag that is made of the unsold item of the day. And Top Eatery is one of my favorites. It's Western food. You get for 150 baht, you get
very broad menu, which is the key highlight of the restaurant.
And I like to get surprised by that. So it's very exciting. It's a win-win-win, right? It's a win for the businesses because we find them an easy way with very little operation to win back a little bit of revenue and maybe get their food to be seen by customers. It's a way for consumers to get access to quality food at affordable price. And it's a way to drive action, real action and awareness on the fight against food waste. So Tops has been one of the first retailers to join in this, so it's quite exciting. We started with the supermarket, we expanded to the bakery, now to the restaurant. So how was the experience for you as a business owner?
Oh, it's as I told you, it's a very for me it's a no-brainer. Honestly, it's I prefer to have always some, just in a pure financial point of view. I prefer to have something, a little bit percentage of something, than 100% of nothing. So it's that's we did a test just for one restaurant for a couple of months, and we are now expanding to all the outlets, which is working pretty well. So I'm very satisfied about it, and I think it's the way everybody should go. It's really a win-win situation that is pretty obvious for on the long term view.
All right, and so so thank you for your feedback. A lot of very concrete action. What is next for you for Tops as a brand? Where are you going from now?
We are going, as I told you, to the net zero in 2050, minus 30% wastage in 2030. It's something again. I repeat myself a little bit that we cannot do alone. Having actions at the different level of the society is the most important to us. So that's why we are having action with you, some marketing and some communication around, and trying to have also collaboration even with the potential competitor. We are not close to it as soon as it's for the benefit of everyone.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you very much.
I don't know if any of you have a question or there's some part you would like to go into more detail. All right. Well, it's super modern. To scan the QR code, ask your question online. You can also raise your hand and ask.
ท่านใดมีคำถามสามารถสแกน QR code ที่ขึ้นอยู่บนหน้าจอได้เลยนะคะสามารถส่งคำถามผ่านทาง Slido App ได้เลยค่ะ
All right. I think no question, right?
No questions, I guess. I can see someone's
Yes, go ahead.
over here.
Hi, thank you. So, I'm wondering, is there like any experience you could share about like difficulties in convincing either businesses or consumer to change to this new habit of decreasing food waste compared to like their traditional ways? Yeah. So, like any difficulties?
I think it's a big challenge. What we're saying, it's we're not only there to tackle food waste, we're there to empower and educate people on why they should reduce food waste. So when I started 5 years ago, I called END the anti-waste app, and after 1 or 2 months after calling customer, I realized it was not the right term. Nobody likes to tackle food waste. It's not something you wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to tackle food waste, right? But there were two things that were clear. The education level on climate impact is growing, and I think everybody wants to be more sustainable. It's just that sometimes they don't have an opportunity, an easy opportunity to do it. And the second point was the financial point. So basically, we were not the anti-waste app, we were the app that helped you save money, and because you save money, you're sustainable. And we knew that we were driving more people by reducing their expenses than by being the sustainable player, right? So one of the things that's clear is go where it hurts the most, your customer or your client, which usually is the pocket, right? And that's why we say it's minimizing waste and maximizing profit, because profit people will hear you, I mean businesses. So that was the first thing. When we're not talking about profit, they were not listening. And same thing for customer. If I was giving you that food at full price, you would not buy it. That was clear. What we also realized is the expectation level was very, very different. People were so used to getting huge discounts on other apps, like 20%, 30%, even 50%, and getting the fresh food, right? And so we had to explain, hey, if you're getting 70% or 50% on your food, you have to also expect, for example, that fruit and vegetable might be a little bruised, the banana might be a little brown, right? So it's still perfectly safe to eat, it's gonna be better. So we started also working on social media, we started working also with Tops. We printed kind of flyer, educational flyer on what to do with expiring food. Hey, you have fruits and vegetables that have a couple of days more, just do a smoothie, do ice cream, right? Froze your bread into in your freezer, and you can extend your shelf life to about 3 months, right? And this was our role as well, to also educate. You come for the discount, and we help you transition into a more sustainable lifestyle at home. And what we see is 9 out of 10 of our customers are making improvement at home on reducing food waste. So this is something we're super proud. And on the businesses, we also see that, of course, financial is important, but now the staff that is using END is super proud, because before they were throwing away the food every day, and there's a kind of shame and guilt of doing that, but your boss tells you that, so you throw away. And now I think they're becoming more proactive in also providing feedback to the management on ways they could potentially reduce food waste. And we said it's everyone through the supply chain, right? Not only
Yeah, it's also for your example on the stained banana is the good example. If I ask all of you, if I tell you, are you going to buy this banana? You're gonna tell me yes. If I put, I would say, a green banana or perfectly yellow one and a stained one in front of it, I challenge you: would you be the one taking the stained ones? And that's part of the education we need to make understand. The stained one is more sweet better, you can transform it to make some jam or fruit sauce for the rest, but it's part of the education that we are talking about.
There's a question for you.
The main cause of food waste in the restaurant and hospitality industry. Two things can be, it happens unfortunately based on if you don't have any forecast of your sales. You tend to do every day the same thing, the same preparations every day without looking at your seasonality. If you're doing this, you will tend to have like some ways that will not be controlled. So it's important, as I said, to manage your data properly. You have hazards. Sometimes you can have a bad day that will not be explained, which is part of the life, I would say. On the third point, I repeat a bit myself, but for me the purchasing is like the key of it. How do you allocate your resources and your raw material per outlet? Because there is something very pragmatic in F&B. If I'm making some preparation and I have 2 kilos of meat, I'm going to use the 2 kilos. I'm not going to calculate exactly that it should be 1.6, 1.7 kilo, and I keep the 300 grams. It's something you do by batch. It's not an exact and science skills. So you will have this overproduction that you have because of the purchase and not because of the chef that is working for you.
I think it's also very different based on the industry you are. So you're in a hotel and you have a buffet, obviously a lot of the waste could be made in the kitchen or could be post-consumption. And sometimes I see people that, oh, what can we do with the post-consumption? Is the consumer putting it on their plate and just throwing it away? You can have a lot of impact there. Simply reduce the size of the plates and people will come more frequently.
Exactly.
And then
and that's part of again, education. Try to finish your plate is something that your mom should have told you for years, and it's actually one of the key lessons you can have in terms of wastage. Try to always order what you're willing to finish and maintain.
All right, time is up. If you have more questions,
Thank you very
feel free to come after that. Thank you very much for coming. Please share that to your friends, your colleagues, that food waste is an extremely important topic for people, the planet, and maybe for your P&L as well. Thank you very much.
Okay.
A big round of applause for our 2 experts. Thank you, Mr. Louis.